What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, my good people? Wait a few minutes, man, to get this thing going. My guy D Butt, man, he's gonna be out today, man. He's gonna miss the show. So obviously, I'm one half of the Man-to-Man Pod. I'm AB. I know my man D Butt wish he could be here, but hey, look, I'm gonna rock it out. I'm gonna hold it down. I'm gonna have a few guys might pop up in the show. Obviously, we all know yesterday was a crazy, crazy day in the league. But we're gonna get this countdown and we gonna be back shortly. What's good? What's good? What's good? Man, what's good? It's Monday, beginning of the week, Overreaction Monday. As we all know, we back at it again. I'm one half of the pod, Antoine, but my guy D Butt, man, he's not gonna be here, man. Obviously has some traveling issues. That's been crazy. But look, man, D Butt, he's here in spirit. And again, like I said, I might have some guys jump in, might talk some shit, come talk some ball. But as we all know, yesterday was a wild day in the NFL. I think it was Saturday or Saturday. We did our picks episode, and I called it. I said, "Hey, look, this week is the week of the dogs." But I picked the wrong ones. I picked the wrong ones, man. There was a lot of upsets, y'all, yesterday. I would say the biggest, I think, in my eyes, it was the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Bills. I think last night, Sunday Night Football, with the Tennessee Titans beating the Los Angeles Rams. Tennessee Titans without Derrick Henry. I thought that was going to be. I thought the Rams were gonna win by a landslide. Honestly, D Butt texted me and said, "Look, I shouldn't have listened to you. I should have rolled with the Titans like I wanted to." But hey, that's part of it. Atlanta came through on a field goal, last minute field goal. Baltimore Ravens, like they've been doing all year. Justin Tucker, clutch, ice in his veins, came through at the end as well. We definitely gonna be talking about all of these games coming up. And I think the first game I'm going to touch on is the which one should we start with? Hold on. I think we got somebody who just popped in.
What's good, bruh?
There you go, MJD.
What's going on, man?
Man, chilling. How you doing?
I'm good. Let me see if I turn it this way. There it goes. All right, that's how I should do it. All right. Man, I'm good, man. I was trying to get a run in. Went to my old alma mater, UCLA, and they closed the track. They didn't close the track on me, so I'm sitting here in the parking lot right now.
So what you going to do?
They got little stadium steps, man. I was going to hit the track, do a little run the straights, walk the turns for 4 laps, and then hit the stadium steps, but now I got to go find a field to go get the run in.
Nah, I like it though. So I ain't gonna hold you too long. But I see you got the Jacksonville Jaguars shirt
Oh, you
on.
already know. Yeah, you already know.
So obviously we can talk about that. We can jump in and talk about that right now. I don't think anybody had Jacksonville Jaguars winning this game. I don't think anybody had them winning this game. You know, Buffalo was coming in 5-2. They was hot, scoring a lot of points, but they went down to Duval, man, and the Jaguars were able to get it done, 9-6. Josh Allen on Jacksonville's side had a hell of a game. What do you think, man, this does for just the morale for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Obviously, Urban Meyer been getting a lot of been under the microscope and under fire this year. So, what you think this do for the Jags?
Well, I mean, I think one, it was more defensively about the Jags, right? Like, I called their game in London. Tua Tagovailoa got after him. He was throwing the ball. I mean, the Miami Dolphins had a great game plan, but you could tell the defense was starting to like turn around. And we all know it takes you about 6 or 7 weeks to kind of understand your defense, understand where the holes are in your defense, how you want to play leverage wise. Like, you're still learning, right? You're still trying to understand. And so I feel like this week was a great testament to what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Now, offensively, they couldn't, the Bills, we know the Bills defense, they're the Bills defense. They're going to do their thing. But to hold Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills and that high-flying offense, our boy Stephon Diggs, to hold them to 2 field goals, to create turnovers consistently, to have Josh Allen running all over the place, like, to me, that tells you there's something there, right? And I think for the Jags to get this one, to get their second win, you kind of like, okay, like, who's next, right? We're happy, we're excited. We know the hard work we've been putting in, because Urban Meyer, let me tell you, Urban Meyer's been working them. Like, I was at training camp. That wasn't no pro training camp. You know what I'm talking about. That was college, high school training camp. I'm talking about hitting every day in the middle of the day. Jacksonville's 100 degrees every day in the August. They were getting after it. And so it's that hard work is starting to kind of it's starting to pay off for them. And so for now, this is just another stepping stone for them to keep growing. On the Buffalo side, you got to be concerned. You can't run the ball.
Yeah.
Like that's an issue. You can't run the ball. They'll probably look to draft a guy in the draft coming up. But right now, if you're trying to win now, you're trying to be a playoff team. I just saw the Tennessee Titans dominate the Los Angeles Rams, running the ball with 3 different dudes, right? So you if you're in the AFC, you got to be able to run the ball. You can't just go out here trying to throw the ball in the AFC. Obviously, we see the Chiefs struggling with that as well. So it looks like, they got to figure out a way to run the ball and take a lot of that pressure off of Josh Allen.
Now, no question. I was going to touch on that as well, because I think yesterday, and this wasn't the first time this year, where Josh Allen was the leading rusher for the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, you can throw the ball, but once you get those teams that's able to get a rush, especially when you can do it with your front four, that's going to affect your offense. And obviously, yesterday you can see the Jacksonville Jaguars got after Josh Allen. And as we know, if you're going to make it far into the playoffs, you can be able to pass the ball all you want, but if you got to be able to play good defense and you got to be able to run the ball. So again, I think the question in the air right now is like, who is the team in the AFC? Who's that number one team? Who's that team to beat in the AFC? And early in the year, I was like, it's Buffalo. And I still thought that probably like 2 to 3 weeks ago. But like you said, the way they played yesterday and then the way Tennessee played last night against the Los Angeles Rams, where I thought the Rams were going to beat them convincingly. Hang in
My
there.
bad.
Who you got in the top of the AFC right now?
To me, it has to be Tennessee, right? Like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to grab this little earpiece, but Tennessee, bro, their defensive line is like unreal, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's not Jeffrey Simmons is a grown man. Okay. I don't know how to explain it, but there was a play last night where he just ran Edwards from the Rams, their left guard, right back into Stafford, right? That is intimidating. Bull straight. Like, come on. Like, you know defense. Well, if a defensive lineman feels like they can just punk you, they just gonna bull rush you. right? And so they get Danico Autry, who's playing well, who was in the Indy for a little bit. I played with him in Oakland for the Raiders, went to Vegas. Like, they got a physical front. Bud Dupree from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Harold Landry. I mean, they are a physical front. And this is the crazy part. They were playing with some backups at corner. Like, dudes that were like their third and fourth, fifth corner out there playing. And they over here locking up, being physical. The one thing I thought the Titans did, and I think the Titans – embodied. This is kind of why I feel like they're right now the cream of the crop. And don't get me wrong, I'll talk about a couple other teams.
Yeah.
Every time the Rams touch the ball, them dudes were getting off the ground.
Yeah.
Like, you know how sometimes defenders are going to push you out of bounds and let you stay up. No, they were tackling. Like, they were making sure that they were making sure that Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Darrell Henderson, anybody that touched the ball was getting up off the ground.
Yeah.
They were just a physical bunch. Now, I'm going to say this team that I think people are going to be we'll see them tonight, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They playing, for some reason, all of a sudden, they're starting to find their way. They're playing great defense. They're running the ball. Big Ben isn't turning the ball over. They have a couple receivers out there that can do something. They have a tight end. And that's all you got to do, right? The AFC is kind of bundled up. All you got to do is just keep winning games. And so the Baltimore Ravens are another team that you can worry about, that you should worry about. I just think they're throwing the ball a little bit too much right now. I think, we know what November and December football is like, right?
No question. No
you
question.
Be able to run the ball and get on out of there.
Run the ball and play defense.
That's what it comes down to. And so I think, you're starting to see kind of the AFC weed some of these other teams out that have been in there. And they're all kind of bundled up and stuff. But you'll start to see the next couple of weeks, the teams that can run the ball and play defense are going to start to separate themselves from the rest of the pack.
No question. Hold on. Got another one of my guys is about to join in with us real quick.
Oh man!
Hey, what's good, fellas?
What's good? Another Coast legend, Gary Brackett. What's good, my guy?
Hey, I'm great, man.
Man, turn your volume up, man.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but man, you turn your volume up.
I got you. You got it. All right, there we go. We good.
All right, what's good, man? What's good? Now we just talking about these games yesterday, man, and just talking about how obviously the Buffalo Bills yesterday, man, they stunk it up, let Jacksonville beat them, and just talk about if you want to be one of them great teams, them good teams, and make it into January and February, just talking about how you got to play good defense, you got to be able to run the ball, and you was one of our leaders in Indy at middle linebacker, and obviously, when we used to go against MJD, the Jags, and Fred T, we knew they could run the ball. And as a defense, you never scared. But when you got guys that can run downhill, run the ball, the defense, man, it's going to be a long game. Just speak on like your perspective as playing that middle linebacker, making the calls, getting the defense right, man. Just how, like on the defensive side, how important it is for the opposing team to be able to run that ball and make that offense two-dimensional.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, right? Because obviously Buffalo's record, Jacksonville's record, everyone thinks Buffalo could just go in there and just get an easy win, right? But in the NFL, it don't work like that. Any team is capable of beating anybody. So you can't definitely take a team lightly. And as it pertains to running the football, I think the most challenging time as a defensive player is where you can't stop the run. So then you have to respect every play action fake as if they're going to hand the ball off. You're going to have to commit 8 men to a box. And when you do that, you leave your defensive backs vulnerable playing one-on-one coverage a lot of times. So you got to figure out ways to stop the ball. And teams, NFL at this point, it's not rocket science. Like, they know they're going to run the ball. You know where they're running it to, and you have to stop them. And if you don't have that physical bunch, I think MGD was just talking about it early on. If you're not imposing your will on the other team, and if that team can get 3-4 yards a pop, it's going to be a long day out there. So you got to figure out ways to stop the ball, make that team one-dimensional if you can. So then you can get a little bit creative on the defensive side of the ball, maybe create a turnover, maybe get off on 3 downs. But, if you can run the ball effectively in the league, especially later in the season, guys are beat up, they're banged up, they're tired, and you can just lean on them, man, it's going to be a long, long day for the defense.
Nah, hell no. I remember the game we played out in Jacksonville, and I think MJD, Fred T, I think y'all both went for like 100 something. That was a long ass game, boy.
But you know what's funny about that though? That game kind of propelled y'all because the next couple of weeks after that, y'all shut down Baltimore, who had a tough running game. You guys went on a tear. I was like, bro, who's this defense that we watching on TV right now while I'm at home, shutting down everybody? I mean, y'all, I think y'all shut down Jamal Lewis that year.
Yeah,
you shut down a couple other people.
Larry Johnson.
It was Larry Johnson, yeah.
Yeah. The funniest shit, Bob Kravitz, he wrote in the paper that Jacksonville could have ran for 600 yards, but the end zone kept getting in the way. Man, I bust out laughing, yo.
Hey,
Red team was a 90, play one, yo. I'm like, yo, it's going to be a long game, bro.
Long game.
This is the thing, though, and I like now watching, like being outside of the game, watching it from afar, right? Football is so complicated in September. Everybody's trying to figure out the new offense that's going to be this and this. But once you get down to November, December, it simplifies very quickly. Yeah. Who wants to be physical and who doesn't, right? Who wants to get punched in the mouth or who wants to be the puncher and who's going to get punched? And it goes back to like football will never change. And so like you talking about a lot of these games, what happened to Dallas? They got punched in the mouth. What happened to the Rams? They got punched in the mouth. What happened to all these other teams that have lost? The Bills, they got punched in the mouth. Like it becomes very simple once November hits. And it's weird that teams don't recognize that and they don't see that.
Yeah, sure. We're going to go to another game, man. Another game that was big this week. Obviously, was a lot of talk with A-Rod and things he had going on, obviously missing this game. Kansas City's kind of been looking, very average this year. Green Bay came in the game 7-1. Kansas City, man, came out with a W. Whether it's ugly, whether it's pretty, they was able to get the W. This game, man, I had Green Bay winning. Even with A-Rod out, I just thought Green Bay was a better team. Obviously, as we both know, you got to have that quarterback. If you got a good quarterback, you got chances to win week in and week out. Kansas City defense has been struggling this year. But again, they was able to get this win. What do y'all think about Kansas City, man? What do y'all think about this team this year? A lot of people saying that, they think the league has figured them out. It's just one of them years. You one of the top teams in the league over the past 2 years. You can get everybody best punch. You know what I mean? What do you think Kansas City is going to go? Obviously, getting this win. What do you think this will do for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah, I think, like you said, it's interesting seeing Patrick Mahomes. Still early on in his career, having the struggle that they are 5-4. Still in a mix, if you will, in the AFC. But they definitely got to get some more wins later on in the road. I think the NFL changed a few years ago in November, December. You got a lot more divisional games. So being able to win those divisional games are going to be key coming down the stretch, and is determine whether you get that first round seed in your division or whether you get a playoff. Maybe you're off the first week of bye. But I mean, they still have to prove themselves, and they can stop somebody on defense. In order for them to really be in the mix as a real contender to go into the Super Bowl.
As we know, you guys won a Super Bowl. You got to be able to win from the pocket. You got to be able to sit in the pocket and throw the ball, go through your progressions, and not improvise, right? And I felt like the first couple years with Patrick Mahomes, he was doing that. He wasn't improvising. He was, throwing from the pocket. Year 2, he started to improvise a little bit more, but it wasn't as crazy as it is right now. It seems like he gets on his 3rd step or his 5th step out of shotgun, and he doesn't know where to go with the ball, and then he scrambles around and trying to make this big play every 3rd down or every 2nd down or every 1st down. Yeah. And that's a problem. In the National Football League, you can't do that. And so when you start to make those type of plays, they become routine, that the improvising, that scrambling all over the place, you're never going to win. Mm-hmm. This game is very simple, and we all know this, man. Like, as a quarterback, win from the pocket, right? You have certain plays, you have certain progressions, throw it to the guys that are open, get in a rhythm. That's how you roll teams. Yeah. Right now, Kansas City they're trying to play backyard football because they've won so many games that way that teams are now saying, okay, well, look, we'll let you scramble all around. We're just going to play, we're going to have an umbrella over the defense, make sure you don't throw deep, and then everything else, we're just going to let you scramble and try to fit it in there. And
question for
right now, it's not working.
Question for you, MJD. You play on the offensive side of the ball, and as we all know, this game is about continuity. Everybody being on the same page. So, Zach, one of our day ones. How much does missing 3 out of the 5 of your starting O-line hurt your run game and your pass protection?
Well, the offensive line, this is the thing. They revamped that offensive line, right? They revamped it to be able to run the ball. In the first couple of weeks, they were rushing for over 100 yards a game. It wasn't as if they weren't running the ball. The problem was Mahomes was doing no-look passes. He was scrambling outright, throwing back across his body. And we all know, and they say this in the media, that the fastest-growing organism is an NFL defense, right? You guys evolve and change year to year, week to week, day to day sometimes. And so right now, it seems like they've caught up to a lot of the stuff that he's gotten away with. And so now, how do you evolve as a quarterback? Now, people are going to say it's the offensive line. People are going to say it's a running game. But they're not throwing interceptions, right? The receivers are getting the balls hitting some of the receivers in the hands, popping up in the air, getting like those things have to be fixed. And I think Kansas City is still a really good team. They're right in the thick of it at 5-4. And the scary part is if they figure it out, you don't want to have to play Kansas City as a 3 seed and then the 6 seed. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be the 2 seed and play them as the 7 seed or whatever it might, or the 8 seed, whatever it might be, and have to run into them, because if they figure it out, you're gonna lose, because they still have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I mean, they went and got Orlando Brown, the left tackle from the Baltimore Ravens, who mauls people. Right? You went and you paid for Joe Tooney. You go draft 2 guys, your center and your right guard, or 2 rookies who are playing lights out. Like, they got dudes there, but you just can't continue to make turnovers and do a lot of the things they've been doing.
Nah, I feel it. Hey, so we got another. So we both played. All 3 of us played in the league, right? And we've all been in certain instances where we might have not been happy on where we were at, or we've seen teammates that's gone through a lot of shit with the organization, right? So, OBJ, right, released by the Browns. I still feel as though he could be a number 1 in this league. Obviously, he's gone through injuries, gotten back from injuries, and it's a lot of shit in the air, right? What do y'all see? First, this is the first thing I'm gonna say, because I think we've all been leaders in the locker room, right? And the media portrays OBJ as him not being a good teammate. And obviously we not in the locker room. Like, what are y'all opinions on this whole debacle of what the media is trying to portray as far as OBJ? OBJ Pops made this video, whatever the case may be. What do y'all think about that? And then also, second part is, do y'all think that OBJ is still a number 1 in this league?
Yeah, I think he is. I mean, he's a generational type talent. You see his ability early on with his career with the Giants, some of the catches that he made, and not even that, run after the catches. He's a really tough cover. But I think a team has to really commit themselves to getting him the football, which I don't think the Browns has. And like you said, the video, I mean, his pop's probably putting it out there that, he's open, he's not getting the ball thrown to him. I think that's a challenge. The biggest thing as an NFL player, and especially at wide receiver position, you want them dudes to think they want to get the ball, right? You don't want those soft-ass wide receivers thinking they don't want the ball. But I think it becomes a little toxic where he kind of lets that voice be heard on the sideline. But I'm not really seeing that from him. I just think it's a guy who's really competitive, wants to go out there and compete. Does a great job, obviously, run after the catch, catching the football, blocking. So I think he's definitely a number 1 guy. It's going to be interesting to see who claims him on waivers and how that whole process works, and if he actually plays for a team that's not a playoff contender. So I think it's going to be the saga continues to see how this all going to play. I think today is the day, right? That he's on waivers and someone gets
today is the day. So shit, we just got a Cleveland Browns legend trapped in with us, DQ. And obviously,
what's going on, fellas? What's going on?
How you, bro?
What up? He got the podcast mic and everything. My man officially.
Yeah, man. I can't ready, man.
I play with y'all.
So shit, DQ, we talking about, OBJ. Obviously, you've been there, you got a relationship. Obviously, just got Cleveland Brown legend this year.
Yeah.
So like just with the whole situation, man, how do you see that going? And obviously, in my opinion, I think it was best for both parties, man, to go ahead and split ways, let OBJ go ahead and do his thing, and Cleveland Browns organization go ahead and continue the season. And obviously, we seen yesterday, they came out and handled business, man. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, the way they came out and played, I mean, that was a statement game, right? I think they needed to show they can come out and play and keep the train rolling without OBJ. However, I do think, and I'm joining this late, but Odell Beckham can still play the game. He can still play at a high clip. And I think for both parties, I think it was best for both parties. I think OBJ, clearly he wasn't being used like the number one receiver he could possibly be and flourish in within that system. But the way they're built offensively, they got a two-headed monster in that backfield, man.
Oh.
So the way they're set up offensively, they'll run first team and pass second. So, and I don't think with the maturation of Baker Mayfield, it kind of made things kind of gray for him. He's still been able to use his other targets and get other guys involved. But Odell Beckham is one of those difference makers that they had to their disposal that they didn't use. And however, listen, I'm happy for both parties. Odell Beckham Jr., whoever picks him up next, they're going to get a number one guy, a guy that's willing to win, willing to work. So I think in the end, listen, Cleveland Browns went out and beat the brakes off of the Bengals. So obviously they got a winning formula there with or without Odell Beckham. However, as a former Browns, you hate to see a good player walk out of that building and knowing that Baker Mayfield, he needs all the targets he could possibly have. But again, I think it's both parties came to an agreement that it was best to move on from Odell Beckham. Baker Mayfield, we'll see the rest of the season how he matures and how better he plays, because I'm one of those skeptics, even though I played there. Yeah. I don't think, he needs a supporting cast around him. And whether it comes back early or later to bite him in the ass, we're going to be talking about this move when we get closer to the playoffs and when they make a push for the playoffs.
Hey, is Baker Mayfield the guy? Is he the guy for the Cleveland Browns? That's the question, right? So they 5-4 right now. He's battling an injury. I'm putting you on the spot. Yeah. Is Baker Mayfield the guy to take the Cleveland Browns to the next level?
I think I got a two-part answer to that. I think he is right now for that team, because obviously, those guys galvanize around him. He's a likable guy. He's ingrained himself into that community. They play for Baker Mayfield. Now, for us, would I want a taller guy, a guy that can throw the ball 30, 40 times a game and put the game on his back? I would prefer that style quarterback, but he works for what that offense asks of him. You're able to hand the ball off and run for, you're in top of the league in rushing, and he's able to go out. If he can go out and make a few throws a game to put him in position to move the ball down the field, if it works for him, don't change it. Now, I would love to see the guy, just be an Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes type guy, but that's not who he is. If they can get behind him, we've seen teams in the past, the Baltimore Ravens with Trent Dilfer many years ago, when with a supporting cast all around him, and he was able to go out and not screw it up. I think if you can play within himself, he's the guy for that team right now. Clearly, I'm a little biased. You can't take him away from that winning formula and say, okay, we're just going to be good. We'll find another quarterback, because that's been the Achilles heel for the Cleveland Browns for 2 decades. So right now, I think he is the guy for the job. Granted, we'll see when that contract talk starts to unfold what he's going to get. I don't think he's a $40 million a year quarterback.
But as we all know, it's about timing.
It is about timing.
It's about timing. So if you hit that market at the right time, whether we be like, oh hell nah, he shouldn't get that.
Right. I think he's the man for the job right now. Now, if he goes out and stinks to join up, and he makes the front office, Andrew Barrett says, you know what, he's holding us back, then you got to make the decision according to your, what's best for your football team. But for now, I think he is the guy for the Cleveland Browns. Whether he fits our bill of what a quarterback should be. But in the end, if I'm Andrew Barrett, if I were to wear my GM hat for a second, when you pay a guy north of $30 million a game, I need a guy to go out and not play well, but go out and win football games for them. And so they got a tough decision to make. They got a really tough decision to make, whether or not they believe you can put the ball in his hands and you can go out and win week in and week out with the 30 million plus guy that you're playing per year.
So look, I got a question for all three of you guys, right? So I said this probably like a week or two ago, when the Bengals, well, this was last week when the Bengals lost to the Jets, right? I think we've all, well, most of us, I don't know about MJD, but we've all been on winning teams and shit, right?
How you gonna put them out like that? Hey man,
that's my guy.
I've beaten everybody in here, so I don't want to.
I know. I can't talk. I didn't win to the later part of my career, so I'm staying quiet.
But all jokes aside, I kind of said this about the Cincinnati Bengals, right? They started off hot, got a young team, dealing with success early, right? And we know it's tough to win in this league, regardless of the records. Every Sunday, Thursday, whenever you play Monday, you got to strap that shit on. You got to bring your A game. And I said with the Cincinnati Bengals, yeah, they playing good, they playing well, but when the media get to talking about them, like, hey, they're good, they might make a playoff run, and they start reading these clippings, they start seeing people talk about on ESPN, how can they handle this success? And I'm not talking about individually, I'm just talking about collectively as a team. With them getting punished 41-16 at home, coming off that L, like, how do y'all see this team moving? You know what I mean? Because it could get ugly real quick. And obviously, and I always just said, teams got to know how to win.
Right.
What you think, MJ?
I'll help you with this real quick. This is the thing, right? So Cincinnati had a lot of success, but it has to come from your leadership, right? Your leadership starts with your head coach, right? You guys had Tony Dungy, right? I know talking with him, he didn't allow you guys to get overconfident, right? It's like we're going back to work. We're not going to read the press clippings. We're going to go back to doing what we do. It comes back to having the same practice schedule, right? Just because we win, we're not going to change how we practice. If we do 9-on-7, we're going to do 9-on-7, right?
Yeah.
If we on pads on Wednesday, we're going to be pads on Wednesday. Winning can't be like, oh, we won, here goes a treat, right? It can't be like that. It's not like you're training dogs. It has to be like, this is what we expect to do, right? When you expect to win, you go out and you win games. And I got to go back to work and I got to put this work in to do it again. To me, there are new winners, right? So they're probably like, oh, see you Wednesday. Well, it's September, bro. What do you mean see you Wednesday? Like, what are you doing, right? Like Friday is, it's Fast Friday. Okay, we instead of wearing helmets, we're going to wear hats. Like, no. It's not time for that. You're a young team. You have to practice and you have to prepare the same way every week and let them know, like, we expected to beat them. That's why we beat them, right?
Yeah,
we came in this game prepared to beat them. And then that's how you get going. But it takes time. You have a young coach. You got a young staff, right? Their OC I went to high school with, right? So you got a young group of coaches there who are learning how to be winners as well, right? And learning how to lead men. And so a lot of it comes with, you got a young quarterback. I mean, they're just young. If you look at their roster, they're just young. And you look at their coaches, they're just young. So they're learning how to win. And this is just going to be a stepping stone in order for them. How can you flip this around? I think they'll be – I didn't think the Bengals would be this good this year. I think next year is when you'll see them really take that jump because right now they're learning how to handle, like you said, handle success, how not to allow the media to dictate. Because, I'm going to tell you, I was like, shoot, I'm on the Bengals. I'll be jumping on bandwagons, right? I've been with the Chiefs the last 2 years. I'm trying to win the Super Bowl ring. You see what I'm saying? So the Bengals got hot. I'm like, I'm with y'all too, right? But how can you handle that when people start praising you? Are you going to be like, oh, I'm not going to get that extra rep in today? I don't need to go to treatment at 6:30. I'll get there at 6:35. Right? It's just those little things start to add up.
GB, shit, you was there at the beginning in Indy when started to turn over, man. Like, just as far as handling the success, man. You think Cincinnati can do it? Some pointers. If you got some young guys watching this pod right now, like how did you handle success? How did the team handle success?
Yeah, I think MGD nailed it in terms of like that consistency. I think, as much as we fought to like take our pads off, right? Coach Dungy was like, I hear you, I understand, but we didn't pass today. And I think, just having that type of mentality, like, man, this is work. We expect to win. We expect to have success. And when we have success, we're going to continue to do the things that led us to our success. And I remember our special teams coach used to say this. I hated the shit when he said it at the time, but he used to always say, "Don't get bored doing the right thing."
Yeah.
And I think what happens with young teams, they get bored doing the right thing. And they think that if they change it up a little bit, they're going to experience a different level of success. Or we're going to win by more. Or we won, but I ain't had the stats I want, so let me try something different. And, the successful teams, they don't really care who gets the credit. And when people out there are doing the work, because that's what you have to do, fall in love with the process, divorce yourself from the outcome, that's when you see a great level of success. And like you said, as a young team, it's challenging because then your leaders are young as well. So I think it's just them getting, being a little bit more mature. 5-4, they're at a critical point in the season right now. So like the second half of the season, this is it, right? This is who you're going to say who are the real players and who are the pretenders. So next week is going to be big for them. And I think, they have to go back to the basics, really do what they did early on to get some of those victories.
Hell, I can add another side to that where in Cleveland, we didn't win many games. So you had to, for a guy that was a leader in that locker room and week in and week out, year in and year out, we wouldn't win games. And so you saw the other side of things where, guys will start off saying the right things, the right practice habits and all that, starting off the first 4 weeks, but then you realize you're 1-3 and now things start to change. I think it's so important that the leadership continue to be the leadership and do the things you did early in the season, in the middle of the season and towards the end of the season, just to build that community within that locker room. And right now, like both these guys just said, they're so young. They're trying to build this new community of how to win. And so this is going to fall on and be a testament of how good that coaching staff is of leading men and leading them week in and week out to keep them motivated to, keep that fire lit up under their butt.
Nah, that's real. That's real. Nah, I appreciate y'all boys, man. We're going to go to this next one, man. Las Vegas Raiders, man, going through a lot, man, in that locker room the past couple weeks. 5-3, man. Went to New York. This is one of my dogs I had. I had the Giants winning. It's probably I think I won probably 2 games yesterday. But the Giants won 23-16, man. And week 9, I think we all heard the news, man. Henry Ruggs, man, that unfortunate incident out there in Vegas, man. Young lady losing her life. And then a couple weeks prior to that, with the Coach Gruden, going through a lot of different stuff. So just a state of where the Raiders are right now. I think this is a game that they thought and they hoped that they was going to win, travel on the road. But obviously, it's a lot of things that go on in the locker room. Sometimes some things that the media don't even know about where, we keep it at in-house. Where y'all think the Raiders can go from here, man? Obviously, like I said, unfortunate situation. Got a brother in a tough situation. Somebody you work with, you went to battle with. Where y'all see the Raiders going, man? Obviously, I think everybody's gonna say, the leaders in the locker room will have to step up. But where y'all see this Raiders team going?
Yeah, this is a tough one. Like you said, you got one of your brothers going through his life just changed dramatically. And the head coach being removed in the fashion that he was removed, there's a lot of turmoil going through that we don't even know about within that locker room. And I think what keeps them at bay is going out and playing football, right? And I think they'll figure it out. They started off well. I think they'll figure it out towards the end. But right now, those guys have to try to keep the main thing. And like all the locker rooms I've ever been in, coaches stress, trying to avoid all the noise outside to focus in on your week-to-week opponent. So it's going to take a little time for them to get their footing, but I think this team is very talented, and they can listen. They're 5-3 right now. They lost to a team they probably should have won, but I do think this team will get it together at some point. And Derek Carr, he's been playing really well this year, kind of under the radar to be quite frank. But I do think his play will continue to get better, and he'll lead, and those leaders within the locker room will figure it out. And again, football on Sunday is fun. On Monday is fun. On Thursday night is fun. So that's the safe haven they do have to look forward to every week. So I do think they'll figure it out in the end.
In 2008, I remember we had a guy get shot, right? And I remember going to the hospital to check on him. You see him and everybody's all emotional. And how we tried to get back to playing football. It's tough, right? They've had a lot of stuff go on right? You had obviously the Gruden. You had some stuff this offseason. Then you have the Henry Ruggs situation. Like, it's just a lot going on for him. And the one thing that we can control as football players is how we go out there and perform, right? And so now this is when, as an individual, yes, it's a team sport, but you got to be, as an individual, you got to say, what can I do to be better, right? Yeah. How can I help take some pressure off of the guy next to me? Is it me communicating a little bit more on pass protection? If I'm Derek Carr and you can't throw that pick six in that situation, right? Yeah. Like, you got to now put a little bit, if you're one of their top players, how do I get Darren Waller the ball a little bit more defensively? Like, how do I get to the quarterback? Can I be better in certain situations? Though, like, when you have a lot of noise from the outside or a lot of stuff that's going on in your locker room, the one way, and again, this may just be me, playing football was my therapy, right? Yeah, how am I going to go out there? How am I going to go out there and cut up? Or how am I going to go out there and help my quarterback? How am I going to go out there and help my offensive line in those situations? You kind of become, I don't want to say selfish, but you have to do a self-check. Like, am I doing everything I can with all that's going on to be the best that I can be to help my team win?
Yeah.
And then as a team, as a collective, if everyone does that, then you'll start to see improvements. You'll start to see go. But when you're talking about the game in general, man, you can't throw a pick six like that. Mm-hmm. You just can't do it, right? Yeah. Like, you're on the road. The Giants have a good defense. Your defense has been kind of going back and forth throughout the game. You can't throw that pick six. You can't throw the ball late to the flat. That's one of the worst things that you can do. And so those are the kind of mistakes that you see are being made. And it's not, maybe it's Derek Carr saying, I should have made that throw, or I could have threw a better ball. And that's fine. But when you make those type of mistakes, with all this is going on, now we're going to talk about, is Henry Ruggs affecting this team? Now, if they'd have won, it'd have been different. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it would have been real. And so for me, it's, how can you be a better player? How can you be a better teammate? And then how can you all together be better to kind of get a victory and then get on the winning track? Because we know winning helps everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Now, I think, I went through a lot of personal adversity with the Indianapolis coach. We went through it with Coach Dungy. So I don't think you were here yet when Coach Dungy's son passed.
Nah.
But man, it affected the team in such a large way. I mean, I was my mom, dad, and brother passed my first year or two in the league, and I'm still out there trying to play. And I think you need your brothers in those situations. And even with the stuff that we hear in the media, there's stuff that guys are dealing with every single day. Moms is getting sick, dads at home, brothers, you know what I'm saying? So I think the best thing, and where you see the most successful teams, is that team culture. You can't have a championship team without championship culture. And that culture starts from the head coach down, the GM, and everyone being on the same page and rallying around everyone, because there's going to be adversity. There's going to be, a big plays, bad plays. But at the end of the day, does everyone on that team believe that we can get this dub? Does everyone on the team believe that you're doing as an individual everything that you need to do to set yourself up for success on Sunday? And when you don't have that, you see these teams start falling apart. But again, the championship teams, that championship culture, they show up every day and they fight for one another. I mean, there's games we probably all shouldn't have played in, right? But the type of caliber players we were as leaders, you're going to go out there and pull on the line because my brother next to me, he wants me to be out there. So I think when you start seeing that from teams and they use these situations, because at the end of the day, what happened actually made us a stronger team. Mm-hmm. And we had better conversations as opposed to it. And we were more cautious of what we did. So it all was about, like, how do you handle adversity? What's the saying? Everyone got a plan until you get hit. So, like, you get hit in the mouth, like, now what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. And we're definitely going to see that, play out for the rest of the season.
Nah, that's real, man. That's some real ass talk, man. And talking about the Raiders, talking about the Giants, man. I think 3-game win streak right now. We always talk about the NFC East, man, and how that division is always going to come down to the last couple of weeks. The Dallas Cowboys started off hot this year, but yesterday, another one. And I said it, the week of the dogs, my dumb ass just picked the wrong dogs. But Denver Broncos went into Dallas, man, and whooped up on them boys, 30-16. Denver Broncos just traded Von Miller to the Rams. And I think they went in there and just had something to prove. And they had a little chip on their shoulder. And Just whooped up on Dallas, man. Where you think Dallas go from here? You know, obviously Dak coming back from the, you know, the calf injury, whatever the case may be. But where you think Dallas? Where y'all think Dallas go from here?
Oh, I'll take it. This is the thing, man. Like, I think every team has a stumble, right? I think Dak coming back from that calf injury probably wasn't completely healthy. Gary, you're talking about how sometimes we play we shouldn't have played, right? Maybe that was Dak's situation. He probably wasn't ready. The ball wasn't coming out of his hand like we saw it the first couple of weeks. He's been banged up. He's been dealing with a lot of stuff. So there's that. Then Zeke gets banged up. Your left tackle's not there, right? They're mixing and matching. Lyle Collins is playing right tackle. You move your right tackle to left. Like, it was just a whole bunch of stuff going on, and they just were out of sync. Now, we all know this, and I guess the simplest way to look and say who's going to win is who's the most talented team. There ain't many teams as talented as the Dallas Cowboys, but they got dudes all over the place. But every now and then you stumble. So I'm not worried about Dallas. To be honest, I still think they're the cream of the crop in the NFC East.
Yeah.
I just think like this was just one of them games where, man, you come out here, you felt like you were good, everybody was good, then you go out there and you warming up and that calf just ain't right. But I ain't gonna say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm just not feeling the best right now, but I'm gonna go out here and tough it out. And then you ran into a buzzsaw. You ran into a team that was like, we just traded our best player because we trying.
Think you hit mute?
And I'll piggyback off of that because I felt like Dak. We can't. Yeah. I felt like Dak probably felt that pressure of that Cooper. What's his name? Cooper Rush. You know, he played well. He played well, and you know, again, I'm gonna piggyback off of what MJD just said. You know, I thought Dak, he was playing so well before he was out. You know, he had missed a great portion of training camp, and then he came back, was playing well, and missed some games through a calf, had some time to rest it for his bye week. You know, and then your backup quarterback comes in and wins a game for you. So I know Dak shouldn't probably feel the urgency to get back on the field, but we all are competitors. You know, we don't. I mean, we want to see our brothers succeed, but not at the expense of my job sometimes. You know what I mean? And that's being real. And so he probably felt that pressure to come back to remind everyone, hey, listen, I'm the face of the franchise. I'm the guy they need to get us in and out of from bad plays to good plays, to throw the ball down the field. I want to be in this MVP conversation. And he wants to prove everyone that he can play the game at a high clip. Again, I'm not worried about the Dallas Cowboys. I think, again, to MJD's point, they're a little bit out of sync. Dak's come back, probably rushed it a little bit, but from here moving forward, I think they realize this is the game they should have won, and they'll get back on track to, you know, and salvage the season. Not salvage because they have a winning record, but they'll get back on track. I'm confident they will.
Yeah.
So one thing I just want to take to a different angle. MJD talked about the most talented teams win in the NFL, and I don't necessarily think that's the case. I mean, shit, you see every offseason somebody try to buy a Super Bowl with bringing in acquisitions. I mean, them teams be talented as hell, right? But I think that culture really plays a huge part, and talent doesn't, you know what I'm saying, necessarily always show up on Sundays, right? So I really think it's about, you know, the coaches and how everyone gels and that championship culture that really affects, you know, organization. The great thing about the Dallas Cowboys, the greatest thing is that they play in the NFC East. And right, and they playing with some dudes that, you know what I'm saying, can't get out of their own way. So in the NFC East, they're gonna be straight, right? They're gonna win that division, and obviously that gives them the playoff seed. The bigger question is, can they get back on track and be one of that top seed teams and get a playoff bye? And I just don't know if I'm looking at Arizona, Green Bay, and Tampa Bay. I just don't know if historically, you know, what the Cowboys have shown me, then I'm going to trust them to be one of those top two teams, you know, come late December, you know, hitting into the playoffs.
Nah, I'm with you, man. And it's crazy. We just talk about, you know, talent, and, you know, GB just mentioned as far as like buying a Super Bowl. I think last night's game for sure. I had the Rams walking the dogs in Tennessee Titans. Obviously with Derrick Henry out with foot surgery. But shit, Tennessee Titans, they showed up. I think me and MJD, we was just talking about it earlier, just as far as like that front four coming in and dominating the game. Obviously the Rams just signing and Von Miller, he didn't play last night, but again, both teams 7-2, and shit, any given Sunday. And obviously I think both of these teams will still be in that, what they definitely be in that playoff hunt, in my opinion. But
the Titans had something to prove. They had something to prove. They heard everyone talking about it after Derrick Henry was out for the season, that they didn't have a shot in hell to salvage the season, to make any noise for the duration of the season. So they had something to prove, and it shows they're well coached. They're well coached. To what GB's talking about, culture and talent, you got to have a good balance of both, right? Like no team is going to win without talent, and with the talent, no team is going to win without a great culture within the locker room. I think we're going to see just how good this coaching staff can be without Derrick Henry. Do they have to lean on your quarterback more? Do you have to play better defense, create other turn? Everyone has to raise their level of play. And this was a shocker. I did not think, I had the Chargers winning this game easily. But again, the Titans has shown they can, the way they're set up to play football is a winning style of playing. And they play great defense. They run the football, and clearly it showed against a talented football team that they can go out and win games that no one expected them to win without Derrick Henry.
Bro, I got someone called me real quick. I got to say this. Gary, don't tell me all that when y'all had all them first rounders in Indy on D-line, wide receiver, tight end.
Bro, the Hall of Fame cast, bro. It was a Hall of Fame cast.
Don't give me that culture talk when y'all was running out all these first rounders. You culture doesn't matter. We built
first rounders.
Huh?
So first round, Hall of Fame players, the reason they happen like that because of the way that we practice and we prepare. We didn't go out there every day and
you can't prepare with a bunch of 6-rounders though and expect them to turn into Hall of Famers. Like, let's be honest. Like, I'm just saying at its purest form. Like, so I coach youth football, right? Mm-hmm. When you going into them games, like, oh, they got 3 dogs. Yeah. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
But I've also coached teams where they had dogs, and I was creative enough to still pull out a win because either their culture was bad. If I beat this one dude, he gonna lose their cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna run away from. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I'm with you. But in the NFL, we can't run away from Dwight Freeney because you got Robert Mathis on the other side.
Right.
In the NFL, I can't double Reggie Wayne because Marvin Harrison over there. Like, y'all had. I'm just telling you from a different perspective of we could have did whatever we wanted to do. Y'all had an answer for it because you had talent all over the field. That practice hard. And your culture set it up. But y'all not going out there winning with a bunch of undrafted players and 6-rounders because that year Peyton was hurt.
You got to have
y'all had Curtis Painter at quarterback, and y'all was looking like us out there. And I was like, I looked at Twan. I was like, Twan, how I feel? Huh?
It was rough, dog. It was rough.
Listen, we had a damn good coach in Cleveland. We just didn't have all the talent, bro. That was some of the closest net.
That was y'all fault. Y'all drafted number 1 like for 10 years in a row. Like y'all drafted top 5.
Bro, we had top talent not at the quarterback position, but everywhere else. Everyone that left Cleveland went on to do bigger and better things, it seemed like.
But this is what I'm saying. One year, one of our defensive coordinators, Coach Coyer, he was like, we playing Houston Texans, and on paper, like they got a more talented defense than us, but we're a better team than them. And on paper, he was right. They had Brian Cushion, Marion Williams, the middle linebacker, Ryan's right.
He's with the Niners now.
Yeah, so it has safety. So if you look at their top round, the picks, right? Because when teams are bad for a long period of time, like you was DQ in Cleveland, right? The Browns, y'all drafting like top 5, like you know what I'm saying, year in, year out. So talent wise,
but we would draft
not talent. Reggie was a 20th pick. Right, Robert Mathis.
Bro, y'all had to, bro. When I walked into that locker room, bro, it was like a night and day. I had never been in a culture like that. But you had Reggie Wayne, you had Robert Mathis, you had Adam Vinatieri. You had a lot of credible superstars in that locker room to say, you know what, they're gonna run this culture of this locker room, bro. So now I do think you definitely got to have talent to win in this game. But
what I'm saying, if you look at talent at the sense of what the TV, the media says, they look at talent by what you enter the game in, right? were you a first rounder, and then how high you were. Robert Matthews was a 6th round pick. Adam Vinatieri was undrafted.
Who?
Adam Vinatieri.
He said,
late first round pick. You know what I'm saying? I think he was late first round as well. So what I'm saying is that these guys weren't like top 10, top 5 picks. It was because you hanging out with other dudes that are playing well, that's raising your level of play, because that consistency, getting 1% better every single day, it yields huge benefits throughout your career.
Gary, that makes sense too. But y'all hit on every first round pick for like 10
hit a whole
years.
Run, bro.
So I don't want to hear. Don't give me. You had Peyton Manning. You had Dallas Clark.
Adam Vinatieri.
Brandon Stokely looking like he was the number 1 at one point.
Hey, we picked up Gonzo, Anthony Gonzalez out of Ohio State.
Gonzo fell off, but before that, it was like I was like, God.
Nah, but I think everybody's right though. You definitely got to have your talent. You can't win without talent. And I think, you definitely gonna have your late round draft picks where your front office got to do their homework and got to find those gems, your Robert Matthews and things of that nature. And then with Robert coming in, I won't gonna pat myself on the back or whatever. So I was just gonna let it ride. But with Rob, myself coming in to what GB is saying, that culture where like, you gotta buy in because you do see a Peyton Manning, where you do see a Marvin Harrison, where you do see a Reggie Wayne doing the shit that you like, well, damn, they staying after practice, they early for practice. So as a 6th rounder, as a 7th rounder, I gotta do this. So I just think that eventually just build, like GB saying, just builds that culture. But you gotta have that talent because like you said, you're not gonna win.
The talent runs the locker room. If you're not a player, I mean, hell, your locker room is just going to be what it is unless you have that talent that knows how to win and knows how to prepare. I remember when I first got to Cleveland and Willie McGinnis was there. And Will Mack was the first one in the building every day and the last one to leave. And I'm watching him. I'm young, and he used to live like a block away from me. And I was like, man, how did you – I think at this point he was like year 14 or 13 or something crazy. So I asked him one day, I'm like, man, how do I play in the league as long as you? He was like, youngster, he was like, he basically just told me to watch it. Show up early, build your relationships throughout the building, just appreciate the moment, appreciate your chair. You know what I mean? Because at any moment they could draft over you, you can get hurt, you could be out, find somebody else. So Will Mack, he set the tone in that locker room. We still went out and got our ass whooped. But as far as a coaching standpoint, he was building it. It was only like a handful of guys that would actually like pay attention to what he was doing and how he was going about doing his business. But, it's the Browns.
I'm going to say this because I think, Gary, you're exactly right. I think talent wins now. Culture builds long-term success, right? And I think that is where, even in Jacksonville, we were creating a culture in 2007, but your front office has to believe in that if you're in the National Football League, right? It ain't high school where all your homies, you all come from the same area. It ain't college where you and your boys is in the dorms. The NFL is different. And if your front office doesn't believe in that culture, they don't believe in what you guys are doing in that locker room, because I always talk about this on TV, is that the locker room camaraderie, the locker room culture is the most important thing to any team, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars in 2007 had a great team. Them dudes is all over the league balling right now. But the locker room, it wasn't right. It was something wrong. And the front office didn't believe in that locker room. So they started trading guys away, right? Giving guys away. Now guess what? You're on another GM, right? So it has to be the whole building has to believe in what you guys are doing, right? And I think that is the when you talk about the Colts when you guys were there, you talk about the Baltimore Ravens and how the long-term success, or the New England Patriots with their long-term success. The front office and the locker room have to be kind of in sync in order to keep that going. Because what happens when you cut Peyton Manning, right? We all looking around. I'm like, oh shoot, we got the Colts now. Then they just plug in Andrew Luck. Right. Andrew Luck comes in. Twan, y'all got the whole system going. Things going well. They let Twan go. All of a sudden, it's like, that was a locker room leader that you let go. Now things are starting to go this way. Reggie Wayne let go. All of a sudden, that locker room's starting to tend down, right? So you have to, when we're talking about talent and the culture, it's both the front office acquiring that talent, but it's also that talent being able to communicate with the front office who those leaders are to keep that success going. I don't even know how we got on this topic, but throughout the National Football League, I think it's a good thing to talk about.
But that's what it's about, though. That's what it's about. It's about the culture. You can have all the talent in the world, but if everybody's not buying into that system, everybody's not on one accord, you won't see that success, man. But fellas, man, I appreciate y'all guys, man. I know y'all got a busy day, busy schedule. MJD, definitely, man. Go ahead and get that run in. GB, man, gotta have you back on the show, man, so we can kind of talk about your whole journey. You kind of mentioned it. There surely. DQ, as always, plug your podcast, man. Plug it so the listeners, man, can go tap into it.
Yeah. So my podcast, like right now, I'm going into the second phase of recording. So the first 10 episodes was pretty much family and friends around, all my former teammates, some coaches. But this time I'm starting to lean into the mental health side of professional sports, which I think a lot of people like us, we can appreciate, but a lot of people, that conversation needs to be had. So I'm actually having a clinician come on to talk about some things that I'm doing for my mental health. And Athletes Unplugged, follow us on Instagram. You can catch us on all your media platforms. And that's where I'm going. I'm starting to dive into some of the real conversations we need to have. And mental health is the first part of that. And I think it's really important because at one point in my life, early in my career, I thought injuries back to back, spending money that I didn't have. So I'm here now. But I got a lot of help from a lot of people, mental health coaches, therapists, you name it. And when I realized that I needed to not only work out my body, but work my brain, that's when my career and my life just went to another level. So yeah, check us out on Athletes Unplugged.
Nah, that's real, man. Appreciate that. And GB, man, plug your podcast as well and your book.
Yeah. Success leaves clues, man. I, like a lot of guys on this call, man, we're fortunate. I mean, we live blessed lives. We did amazing things. And we talk to people and individuals that, pour into us with ideals, with successes that they had. And I always thought it'd be great if I could get them to share on air so I can share some of that success with everyone else, man. I mean, my goal in my company, Champ Builders, is to create more champions, more leaders, and less followers. So that's one of them. And then the book coming out next week, Championship Grit. It talks about overcoming adversity, overcoming obstacles. DQ hit it on, like mental health is a real thing. So what type of mindset do you have when you're facing some of these obstacles, and how do you overcome them? I share a lot of my journey in my book, the new book, Championship Grit. You can pick it up on Amazon as early as next week.
So y'all go check that out at MJD, man. Let the folks know what you're doing, man, where they can find you.
Well, I work for the Rams, so last night wasn't the best for us, but I call their games on radio. Then I'm on NFL Network, and I do a couple other stuff. But it's good to hear you guys talk about mental health, man. I talked to Twana. We've had our conversations about it. It's crazy once you get, football takes up so much of your life, right? Then once football's over, It's like, dude, I got 24 hours in the day. What do I do? And that's something I've been kind of battling with. But it's always good to talk to people. It's always good to, it's okay. I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's like, it's okay to struggle, right? Like, right. But we gonna get through it. So for me, I'm gonna definitely tune into your podcast, DQ. I'm gonna get your book, Gary. Even though y'all was cheating back in the day, I'm gonna still support you. And also, Twan, I appreciate you having me the only offensive player on this podcast. You and D Bud have done a great job, but y'all need you need a different perspective. It can't always be DB. I don't always hear
man. We need some linebackers, man. No, we need some linebackers, man.
Hey, we gonna tap into that. We gonna tap into that for sure, for sure. But again, fellas, man, I appreciate you guys, man. Love each every one of you guys, man. Y'all been inspiration to me, even though we probably don't say it as much, but if we're looking from afar, man. All three of y'all guys, man, do good shit in the community, man, and just real men and real friends, man. So appreciate y'all guys for joining me, man, and y'all have a good rest of the day.
All right, I'm still mad I left the party early, man. I miss Rick Ross. I missed him.
All right, bro.
All right, fam.
Yep. Peace. Man, great show, man. Appreciate my guys being able to tap in with me, man. Miss my guy D